Hi everyone, Salesforce Admin Training Day 20. Let's see what are we going to learn today. We'll go through the quickly previous session and we'll talk about the relationships and one of the use case, lookup relationship observation, lookup dialog configuration, and lookup filter configuration homework, and then we'll have a master details relationship homework. And today's interview questions. Now, quickly, yesterday, what did we learn? Yesterday, what did we learn?
Tracking history, the types of relationship, why relationship is exactly.
Right. So we ended up with relationship. Now, what are the different type of relationships we have?
Lookup, external, master, hierarchy, self relationship.
Right. How about offline? Right. Offline. So relationship, yesterday we have seen relationships are divided into 5 different types. So we have seen lookup relationship, external relationship, master detail relationship, right? And hierarchical relationship. And then we have a self relationship. These are the different relationship we have in Salesforce. So yesterday we started with the lookup relationship. Lookup relationship is in generic term, if I have to say that lookup relationships are basically it's a loosely coupled. It seems like it is linked, but it is loosely coupled. Is called as a lookup relationship. And yesterday we have started with one of the use case. We have configured the relationship between the hiring manager and a position, right? So in these two, we have implemented a relationship, lookup relationship. So we have to, whenever we wanted to implement a lookup relationship, we have to identify which one is the parent object and which one is the child object. So in our case, hiring manager is a parent and position is a child object. And then we have to map the lookup relationship between these two. Right, this is what we have implemented. Let me go back. So in setup. Now in setup, let's go to the object manager. In the object manager, our child object is a position object. So let's go to the position object. Now, so we have created a lookup relationship here. We have created lookup relationship here. So hiring manager position object is looking for a hiring manager and it is indexed. Right? So that means when I go to the position object, let's go to the position object. In the position object, if I go to the position object, I can see one of the lookup relationship in the position object. Right? So we can link one hiring manager. In the child object, we can link only one parent object. Only one parent object. So right now, how many hiring manager records we have? For example, we have only one record. Hiring manager, we have only one record. So let's create a few more records. So hiring manager, click on a new. Bhanu Prakash, you have joined twice. Bhanu Prakash.
In my laptop, voice is not coming, so that's why I come connected with the mobile.
Okay. So let's take it as a, let's create another one, which is called as a, let's say, let's take a hiring manager is Monica. Now contact number is some number I'm giving here, email address, let's give it samskarit@gmail.com. Right? So current CTC is, let's give some number here. Okay, so and location is, let's keep it as a Bangalore and designation is HR executive. Click on save. Now, in case if you want to create a same record again, like instead of clicking on a new button here, what you can do is open this one, and here we have a something called clone. Something called clone is there. Clone is nothing but take exact copy of that. Take exact copy of that. So I'll take an exact copy, then I'll create another hiring manager here, rename, and let's change some number here. Right, so this is a Hyderabad, let's say senior HR executive, click on a save. So right now we have a total 3 hiring manager records are there. Now, if you click on here crossmark, and if you try to search hiring manager, it will be giving you the all 3 options. It will be giving you all 3 options. I'll click on this. Now we are getting the Reena, Monica, Hari. Now these are the hiring manager names. These are the hiring manager names. Now, for example, I'll click on here, Hari. I'll select it as a save. And also I'll create another position. Let me take a clone of this. This is another for Salesforce fresher. Salesforce fresher. And number of vacancies, let's say 2 vacancies are available. It's in Hyderabad. Let's assume that it is in Hyderabad. Right, and then minimum pay is, let's keep it as the same as it is. And here the skills are resource with a strong communication skills, team management experience. Let's take out this. Right, so this is the information. This is the information I needed for the fresher. I have created another position here also. Hiring manager is Hari. Now, if I go to the hiring manager, let's open the hiring manager. From the hiring manager, if I wanted to know how many child records are linked to this particular hiring manager, if I wanted to know, go to the related list. In the related list, we have a related object, which is called as a position, It's just giving the position name, right? But position has so many fields. Position has so many fields. But if you look at the related list, it is just says that only this particular only name it is showing. I wanted to show the more information here. So what we will do is, let's go to the object manager. And in the object manager, let's go to the hiring manager. In the hiring manager page layout. Now let's open the hiring manager here. Go to the related list. This is the related list. In the related list, we have a position. Now in the position, just click on this related list properties. There are two icons are there. Click on the one which is says that related list properties. Click on this. Now here it says only position name. Now what I need is I need a few more details like a location. And open date, rights and number of vacancies. These four details I wanted to show them. These four details I wanted to show them. Now click on this and click on OK. Now we have a position name, location, open date, number of vacancies. Click on a save button. Now let's come back to the hiring manager record. In the hiring manager record related list, we can see multiple fields. We can see multiple fields, position name, location, open date, number of vacancies, right? Now, how many parent component is, how many it is connected to the child? It is connected to the more than one child. So the first observation for the lookup relationship is lookup relationship provides the one-to-many association by default. That means each parent record can be associated with one child record or a more child records. So that's what we have seen. So parent record can be associated with one record, one child record or more child records. One child record or more child records. Guys, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So probably you need to reconnect it again. No, sir.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, madam.
So this is the first observation. Take a notes of it. First observation of the lookup is lookup relationship provides the one-to-many association by default. You need not to do anything. By default, it is going to provide you one-to-many association. That means each parent record can be associated with one or more child records. One or more child record. This is the first observation. This is the first observation. Now, second observation is now here, if we go to the position object, if I go to the position object, in the position object, that means in the child object, the lookup relationship, it is only associated with only one record. You cannot associate it with multiple parent records. You cannot associate it with multiple parent records. So that means the second observation is lookup relationship can be applicable only on the child object which already have a record. You have to create a lookup relationship only on the child object. You have to create a lookup relationship only on the child object. You cannot create a lookup relationship on the parent object. On the parent object, you cannot create it. Only you have to create it on the child objects. And whenever you create on the child objects, either for the existing record or a new record, you can link the parent record. If there is an existing record where the data is not there, you can go and edit the child record and link the parent record into the child record. That's the second observation. Now, third one is whenever we are creating a child record, so that means while creating the child record, lookup field is an optional field. It's not a mandatory. By default, lookup field is a optional field. By default, it is a lookup field is optional. It's not a mandatory. You do not have a star mark here anymore, right? You do not have a star mark. It is not there. So that means it is a optional. By default, it is a optional. So whenever you are creating the lookup field, lookup field is an optional field. That means child record may associate with the parent record, may not associate with the parent record. That means it is not necessary that I should always link the child record to the parent record. It's not necessary that I may link the parent record, I may not link the parent record. I can remove here. Now I'm creating the child record without providing the parent record. Without giving the parent record, I'm creating it. Because the lookup relationship is a not mandatory field. So that's the reason while creating the child record, lookup field is an optional field. So that means child record may or may not associate with the parent record. It's not necessary that every child record should be associated with the parent. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. Now the fourth point is reparenting. Now when you say reparenting, what is that means? Now let me show you that. Let me assign here Hari. Click on save. Now yesterday, whenever we were creating the pick list field, whenever we were creating the lookup relationship field, let's go to the position object, click on your fields and relationship. And yesterday we have created the hiring manager. Now let's click on a edit button. Now, while creating the lookup relationship field, there is a one checkbox. There is one checkbox which will tell me that what to do if the lookup record is deleted. That means if hiring manager record is deleted, what should happen to the child record? What should happen to the child record? Now clear the values of the field. That means whatever the position object is there, whatever the position object is there. Now here we have a value, parent record value is there. Just clear this value, delete the parent record, and whatever the associated child records are there, just remove this value from here. Just remove that value from there. That means clear the value of this field. You cannot choose this option if you make this field is required. That means by default, it is not required. Lookup field, by default, it is not required. So it is clearing the values. That means if I delete, for example, let's take an example of this. Hari is resigned the company. Hari resigned the company and he moved to the another company. When this person is resigned to the company, now this HR record has to be deleted. This HR record has to be deleted. That means I'll click on here. I'll say that this person is no more in the company because this person is deleted. This person is deleted. This person is resigned the company. He moved to the another company. As soon as the person is resigned in the company, we wanted to delete this record within the system. Otherwise, what will happen if we keep it? It will show that these positions are handling by this person. But actually, this person is no more in the company. So what I'll do, I'll try to delete a parent record. I'm deleting the parent record. So when I delete the parent record, it says that, are you sure you wanted to delete this hiring manager? I'll say yes, delete it. Now it is deleted. Hari is deleted. But what will happen to the records that are child records that are associated? What happened to the child records that are associated to the parent record? Like a Salesforce fresher is associated with Hari. Even the another position is also associated with Hari. Now, what should happen to this value? What should happen to that particular field? So as we have mentioned here, the option, clear the values of this field, clear the values of this field. So what it does is, it is basically whatever the child records are associated with the parent record, it just remove the value of the parent record. It just remove the value of the parent record. It just removed the value of the parent record. Now that means while removing the parent record, only the parent record will get removed. It will not remove the child record. It will not remove the child record. It will only remove the parent record. Child records are still like that only. And only the thing is that in the child record, what are the lookup field value is there, that value will be cleared out. That value will be cleared out. Now, if I go to the recycle bin, let's go to the recycle bin. In the recycle bin, it will shows only the parent record that is deleted. Only the parent record that is deleted. Now, if I revert back, now this is deleted. Now, if I revert back, that means I wanted to restore. If I restore it, will it automatically link to the child record? Let's see that. Now I wanted to restore this. Whatever the record is deleted, I wanted to restore. Let's go ahead and restore this record. So now I have restored it. Now hiring manager. Now again, we can see that there are 3 hiring manager records are there, right? So hiring manager Hari is available. Now, as I restored from the recycle bin to the hiring manager, will that automatically link the hiring manager with the position? Yes. Now here, let's refresh. Now here it is, Hari. I did not update the lookup relationship. I just restored it. I did not change anything. I just restored it. As soon as I restored it, it is automatically able to identify what was the child records. What was the child records that were associated with the parent. It will be identify that and automatically link that if it is a blank. But let's assume that I am deleting again. Click on a delete button. Now I have deleted it. Now it came to the recycle bin. Now the record is in the recycle bin. It's no more in the hiring manager. It's in the recycle bin. So when it is deleted, it is remove the hiring manager. It removed the hiring manager. Now out of 2 position, what I'll do is as that person is resigned, as person is no more in the company, I'll update here hiring manager. I'll update the hiring manager to Reena. Now click on a save. Once I update the hiring manager to Reena, Reena. So what will happen? Now Reena is holding the 1 position, handling the 1 position, right? Now it says 1 position. Now, out of 2 records, Hari was handling the 2 positions. Out of 2 positions, 1 position, I have moved it to the Reena. Now, what will happen if I revert this? What will happen if I restore this? Let's go ahead and restore this. Now I said restore. Now let's go back to the hiring manager. Now I can see the Hari. Now let's go back to the Hari hiring manager related list. How many positions are displaying it? It is displaying only 1 position. That means whichever the blank value is there and it was supposed to be previous one. Now what will happen? It will automatically identify, it will link that. In case if the position is already linked with another hiring manager, it will not update that. Now that is the option which is called as a clear the values of the field. Now the next option we have, do not allow the deletion of the lookup record that is part of the lookup relationship. That means it says that do not allow to delete any of the lookup records. That means parent record. If the parent record is already associated with the child records, Then if you are trying to delete the parent record, do not try to delete, do not allow them to delete it. Now how this option, if you make it as a required, this field, if you make this field is a required, automatically, if you make this as a required, automatically the option for the lookup records to be deleted is only do not allow to delete the lookup records, because we are making the lookup relationship as a mandatory. When it is a mandatory, and if you are linking the parent record to the child record, and after that, if you are deleting any parent record, it should not allow them to delete it. It should not allow them to delete it, because those records are already associated with the child record, and in the child record, lookup field is a mandatory. Lookup field is mandatory. Now, let's enable this. Now, whenever you say required, automatically the second checkbox is the second radio button option is ultimately it will go for the second option, which is a do not allow of the lookup records. You cannot make it as a clear the values. You cannot, this option will be disabled. When you make it as a required, this option is disabled. Only option you will have is do not allow to delete. If it is not mandatory, you have an option to either choose this one or this one. But if you make it as a required, this field is a required, then ultimately it will go to the do not allow deletion. Right? Now let me make it as a required and click on the save button. Click on save button. Now I made it as a required and lookup record is deleted. Do not allow the deletion. Now let's go ahead and let's refresh this, Hari. Now here detail list. Now I'm deleting the Hari. I'm deleting the Hari hiring manager record. Click on a delete button. Now what it is saying that your attempt to delete Hari could not be complete because it is associated with the following positions. This position is associated with Hari. This position is associated with Hari. If there is any record that is associated with the parent record, any record that is associated with the parent record, you cannot delete it. You cannot delete it. Now, if you are trying to delete it, it will say that position object, position record, Salesforce developer is already linked with, already associated with the hiring manager. Already associated with the hiring manager. Already associated with the hiring manager. So whenever there is associated with the hiring manager, do not delete it. It will not allow them. Now, what will happen if it is not associated with the child records? For example, Monica is there. Monica is there. Now there is no records are available. Now I'm trying to delete this record. I'm trying to delete this record. It will allow the user to delete that particular record because this record is not associated with any child record. This record is not associated with any child record. Now let me restore back this one. So whenever the record is not associated with the any child record, you have an option to delete it. But let's say that which is already assigned, which is already associated, like Hari is already associated with the position called Salesforce developer. Now, child on the child record, this is mandatory. On the child record, this is mandatory field. Now we made it as a lookup field as a mandatory. If you go to the child record, now if you try to edit this, here it says that hiring manager is a mandatory. Hiring manager is mandatory. But the situation it came is Hari is resigned. Hari is resigned. He is no more in the company. He is no more in the company. When the person is no more in the company, and if I try to delete it, it's not allowing me to delete it. Now, how can I delete it? What is the other option which I have it? What is the other option which I have? The other option is you cannot delete the Hari anymore right now. The only other option is go to the Salesforce developer position, go to the Salesforce developer position and remove the Hari and link it to the another person. You cannot make it as a blank also. When you try to make it as a blank, it will say that hiring manager is mandatory because we made it as a required. So instead of Hari, what I'm doing is I'm doing the reparenting. I'm doing the reparenting from the Hari parenting to the Monica parenting, I'm changing it. So I'm doing the reparenting. When I click on a reparenting, when I does the reparenting, now let's go back to the Hari and refresh. Now Hari does not have any positions associated with him. Hari does not have any positions associated with him. Now I can go ahead and delete it. Now if I delete it, it will not give any error. Without any error, it will be deleted. So which is called as a reparenting. That means I am changing the parent record from one parent record to the another parent record. I'm changing from one parent record to the another parent record on the child record. So the fourth point is lookup relationship provides the reparenting option by default. That means whenever you make a field is mandatory, whenever you make a field is mandatory or a not mandatory also, by default, Salesforce is providing you to reparent. That means you have an option to change the one lookup relationship record to the another lookup relationship field. That means one parent record to the another parent record on the child record. So that means child record can be reparented to any other parent in future. There is no restriction on that. So reparenting can be happen on this. Now the fifth point is, which we have already seen, while removing the parent record, that means while deleting the parent record, only the parent record will get removed, child record will get associated with as it is. This is fifth point is, whenever the lookup relationship field is not mandatory. Whenever the lookup relationship is not mandatory, if it is not mandatory and if you are trying to delete that parent record, only the parent record will be deleted. Child record will not be deleted. Child record will be like that only. Only the relation, whatever the lookup field value is there, that value will be cleared out. Is everybody taking the notes? Any questions on these 5 points, 5 observations? Is everybody taking the notes?
Yes, ma'am.
Offline? Okay. Is there any possibility to see another field label in the lookup field in the child records? We are yet to come to that, so hold on that question. Okay. Now here, now next move on. Sixth point, sixth observation. Sixth observation is while creating the child record, lookup field is optional. The third point is lookup field is optional, which is nothing but when you do not have a mandatory, if you say that it is not required, now you might select the parent record or you might not select the parent record. So that is the option. Third option is whenever you have a field is not mandatory, then you can either select it or you can create a record, child record without selecting the parent record. Clear? You can edit the parent record, that's totally fine. But hardly whenever we have a parent record, we do not hardly edit anything. So we do not change especially the name or anything, we do not change it, right? So those are the standard records. Those are the standard records. Because if you change from Hari to somebody else, what will happen instead of deleting here? You have a Hari is the person who resigned it. Now you want the different person to be different person is came into the company. So what you have done is instead of deleting the Hari, what you have done is you have changed the name. Now, instead of Hari, let's say that there is a new person who is joined, Vishnu. Now, Hari resigned it. When this record is created, 2205, right? So which is May 22nd, it is created. Now the person is resigned and he joined on 24th. Vishnu is joined on 24th. Now simply what you will do is you will change here Vishnu. But what will happen? Vishnu is actually joined on 24th. He is joined on 24th. But what is the record it says? It says that this record is created on 22nd. This record is created 22nd. That means before he joins in the company, this record was already exist. Now, if I wanted to track it from the day he joined, from that moment, what are the position he handled? Can I track it? I cannot track it because I'm changing the existing record. So that's the reason to not change the names of the existing record, because you will miss your tracking. It will not give you the proper data. So that's the reason we never change much. Whenever you change anything here, if you wanted to track it, what are the records that this person has handled? Now this created date does not give the clarity. So that's the reason always create a new records. How can we create a child record without parent? Right, so answer is already came for you, Vishnu. So it is not mandatory. If it is not mandatory, you can create it without linking the parent record. Now let's move on. So the next one is sixth point. Sixth point is we can make the lookup field required by selecting the required checkbox. Now, in case if you wanted to make the lookup field mandatory for every child record, it has to be associated with the parent record. Then what you have to do is you need to select the required checkbox. So whenever you select the required checkbox while creating or editing the record, it says that if you do not have any field, in the lookup relationship, it is going to prompt you the error message saying that you have missed to enter the required field. So whenever you make the field as a required, that means required checkbox is true. Whenever you make a lookup field is a required, so then it is mandatory that while creating or while editing the field, it is mandatory to enter the field. Without a parent, you cannot create a child if it says it is a required. Now, seventh option. Now, in case if the lookup field is mandatory, that means it is required field. Lookup field is required field. Then, if the user tries to delete the parent record, which we have already seen, right? Whenever we deleted the parent record, lookup field is we made it as a mandatory. And now I'm trying to delete the record. Now I'm trying to delete the parent record, which is associated with the child records. So that time we have two solutions. One solution is remove the child record from the object and remove the parent record. So one solution is delete all the child records that are associated to the parent record and then delete the parent record. That means first solution is if you have this Hari. Now, for example, let's go here. Now, Monica is there, right? So Monica hiring manager is associated with the child record, which is called as a Salesforce developer, right? Now in the child, you cannot remove the Monica right now, right? You cannot keep it as a blank because right now it is a mandatory field. Now what you have to do, there are two solutions which are available for this. The solution is you delete the position record, delete the position record and then delete the parent record, delete the position record and delete the parent record. Solution 2 is reparent it. In the child record, whatever the parent record you are associated with, remove that, the one which you wanted to delete the parent record, remove that and link the another parent record, link another parent record. After that, once the linking is done, once the reparenting is done on the child record, then you have to delete the parent record from the object. Then you have to delete the parent record from the object. Now that we have already seen. Now the 8th point is, now let's suppose, so let's suppose here, we have a position object here. There is a position object. Now this is a position object. Now here I have position object. In the position object, this position object is a child object. Child object. Now I have another object, which is a parent object. This is parent object. Parent object name is hiring manager. Hiring manager. Now hiring manager is a parent. This is a parent. Now in the child object, what we have done is we have created a field called lookup relationship. We have created a field called lookup relationship field. Lookup, let's say that this is a lookup relationship field 1. I have created this lookup relationship field. What is this lookup relationship field? Basically, this lookup relationship field is whatever the on the position object. Okay. Whenever I'm creating the position object, I can link the relation with the parent object, right? So I can link it. Now this is the one lookup relationship which I have created on, which is one relationship which I have created on the parent object, on the parent child object, which I have created. From the child object, I can link to the parent object, right? Now this is already there. This is lookup relationship I have created, which is already there. Now when I'm creating the lookup relationship, now what I did is I made it as a not mandatory. It is not mandatory. It is not initially, it is not mandatory. Initially, it is not mandatory. When it is not mandatory, right? Now I have created 10 records. I have 10 records on the child object. I have created 10 records. Out of 10 records, 5 records are associated with the parent record. Now 5 records has a blank value. Has a null, blank value. There is no records are associated to it. There is no records which are associated to this. Now, this is the scenario which we have. Now later we have realized it. Now we should make it as a mandatory. Later we have realized it. We should make it as a mandatory. So what I did is I made it as a mandatory. Later we have updated the field to mandatory field. Later we have updated field to the mandatory field. When we have updated the mandatory field, now after that, whenever I'm creating the records, now again I'm creating here a record. For example, I'm creating the one record. while saving the record, it says that the record is mandatory, the lookup field is mandatory. So it will give me the warning message. This is when this warning message is while creating the record. This is while creating the record. So while creating the record, it will throw an error saying that you need to attach the parent record. So please enter. No, this is fine. But what will happen to the one which are already exist and which does not have any parent record, which does not associated with any parent record? What will happen? So basically these records are already exist within the system. Now, when you try to edit these records, to update some data, and when you click on edit record, after entering the data, when you click on a save button, it is going to throw an error saying that you need to link the parent record. That means whether you have an existing record or a new record, this lookup relationship, if you say mandatory, that means if you say mandatory, either on after insert or after update. After update, it is going to cross verify whether the record has a parent record associated or not. Update, after update is nothing but whenever you are editing the existing record, it is going to cross verify that if this is not updated. It is basically not after update, it is basically before insert and before update. Before inserting the data to the system database and before updating the data to the database. So it is a before insert, before update, it is going to cross verify that whether on creation or on editing the existing record, if the lookup relationship is associated with the parent record or not. If it is not associated with the parent record, then show the error message. So that's how it is going to show the error here, right? Now I have already created one lookup relationship. Insert update is nothing but, insert is a create. Update is nothing but a edit. Update is nothing but a edit. Creating the record, editing the record. Creating the record, editing the record. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. But first records are created, no ma'am. 5 records are created. So in that case, the error will not be shown, right? When the field is made mandatory.
I barely hear you.
Ma'am, when the 5 records are created without making the field mandatory,
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
when those 5 records are created without making the field mandatory, then it will not show any error, right?
No, it will not. If it is not mandatory, it will not show any error.
So then why this before insert option came into existence, ma'am?
For mandatory,
For mandatory.
yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
whatever this concept is, I'm discussing it. I'm discussing for the second option, which is a mandatory one. Not mandatory, there is nothing is there. There is no rules are applied for the not mandatory. Whenever it is mandatory, then you need to, whenever you are editing the existing one, it is going to check. That means while updating the record, it is going to check for the existing records as well as while creating the new records also, it is going to cross verify whether this particular field is already available or not. Because why we are checking here? Because we shifted to the mandatory. It was a not mandatory. Then we changed it to the mandatory field.
Only while editing, it will show an error, right?
While creating also.
Again, when we create a new record. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Now, let's move on. So basically here, I already created the lookup relationship. Now let's suppose there is already linking or a relationship is implemented between the hiring manager and position. But I have another object. Here I have another object this object is, let's say that it is a project object. It is project object. Now here I have a project object. Right from the position, there is another object is called project. For which project the position is opening up. For which project the position is open. Now similarly, I have another object is there, which is another object which is there as which is current. Let's say that client object. For which client? For which client? So one is a project and another one is a client. Another one is client. Now this is a client object. Now like this, we have two objects which are available. Like this, we have two objects. Two objects are there. Now this project and client should be linked to the position. Now can I implement? I already have a relationship with the hiring manager. Now if I wanted to implement a position to project, position to client, can I implement it? Yes. So that means you need to create another lookup relationship field. You need to create another lookup relationship field on the position object. You need to create another lookup relationship field on the child object, which is called as a LR2. So this is another lookup relationship I'm creating on the position object. What it does basically, it is looking up to the project object. It is looking up to the project object. So this lookup relationship is looking up to the project. Similarly, I wanted to link the position object to the client object. Then create another lookup relationship here. Create another lookup relationship. Let's say that this is another lookup relationship 3. Another lookup relationship 3. Now, what is the purpose of this one? This is basically, it is going to link the position object to the client object. It is going to link the position object to the client object. So like this, you can create, like this, you can create a up to 40 lookup relationship on the single object. Up to 40 lookup relationship on the single object. That means in single object, you can create 40 lookup relationship. You can create maximum 40 lookup relationship. That means one object can be linked to the multiple parent, can be linked to the multiple parent objects. Not the multiple parent same object, multiple parent objects. So this is one parent, this is another parent, this is another parent. But all these parents are different objects. All these parents are different objects. So we can create maximum of 40 lookup relationship on the position object. So you can create up to 40 lookup relationship on the child objects. That is the another observation. That is another observation. We can have maximum of 40 lookup relationship field per object. That means a child record can be associated with maximum of 40 parent records. Maximum of 40 parent records. No. Let's move on. The next one is, everybody noted this, taken the notes. Take the notes. Okay. Okay, let's move on. Next observation is sharing settings. Sharing settings and security settings of the child record is purely independent of the parent record. Now, you might ask a question. Now we have linking the parent record to the child record, right? We are linking, this is the parent record and this is the child record. Similarly, I have this is a parent record, this is a child record. Similarly, I have this is a parent record and this is the child record. Now, when we link this, let's take an example of hiring and position. Now, whenever I link a relationship between the lookup relationship, whenever we have implemented between the position and hiring manager. Now, how the sharing settings will apply? How the sharing settings will apply? Does the parent sharing settings will be assigned to the child? That means, is it controlled by parent? How it is going to be? Now click on edit. I'm going to the sharing setting. In the sharing settings, I have a hiring manager. I have a hiring manager which says public read write. Position is also public read write. Now, if I change a parent, if I change a parent sharing settings, if I change a parent sharing settings, will the child sharing settings also gets updated? Now I'm just changing the parent one, click on a save. What it happened, it is only change the parent sharing settings. It did not change the child one. Child one is as it is. That means there is no dependency of the parent related to sharing settings. There is no dependencies. Parent will have a separate sharing settings. Child will have its own sharing settings. There is no they both are independent. They both are independent. That means I will be having a separate sharing settings. I will be having a separate sharing setting for the parent record. Similarly, child will also have a separate sharing setting. It is not going to take the parent one. And this parent is also have a separate sharing setting. That means though it is a relationship implemented between the two objects, though it is a lookup relationship is implemented between the two objects, still we have a separate sharing setting. That means independent sharing settings are there. They are not going to share each other. Everybody has their own individual sharing settings. Everybody has their own individual sharing settings, whether it is the sharing settings or a security settings, whatever it might be, it is purely independent of the parent, independent of the parent and child, whatever their own access is there, it will be dependent on their own. Now, another observation is when you go to the parent, when you go to the child object, let's go to the child object manager here. Now, in the child object, when you click on a new field, you will see there is a one option which is available here, roll-up summary. There is a one option which is available here, roll-up summary. Roll-up summary field cannot be applicable for the lookup relationship object. Roll-up summary field cannot be applicable for the lookup relationship object. That means whenever you have a lookup relationship field is implemented within the child object, you cannot create a roll-up summary field. It will be disabled. It will be disabled. That means lookup relationship fields, lookup relationship fields. That means roll-up summary fields cannot applicable on the lookup relationship field. Whenever you have implemented a lookup relationship field within the object, you cannot create a roll-up summary field. You cannot create a roll-up summary field. And the next observation is in the lookup relationship, standard objects has to be a child object. Standard object can be a child object. It cannot be a parent object. What is this means? Lookup relationship. Whenever you are implementing the lookup relationship, standard object can be a child object. Standard object can be a child object. That means we can make the standard objects as the child with our custom object as the parent. Now, let me explain this, the 11th point. So let me explain the 11th point. So 11th point is what it is saying here. So we have some concept in the Salesforce. What is that concept? We have a concept of child and parent. We have a concept of child and parent. Child and parent. That means here I have a few objects, right? And here we have a few objects. Here we have a few objects. Could be a same object or could be a different object. Now let's suppose in this case, now in this case, the first one is the one which we are discussing is the position object. The first one which we are discussing about the position object. Position object is a standard object or a custom object. Position object is standard
Custom.
object. It's a custom object. Now, here we have another object which is a hiring manager. Hiring manager. Is the hiring manager is a custom object or a standard object?
Custom object.
Custom object. Now, this is a custom object. Whenever you are implementing the lookup relationship, whenever you are implementing the lookup relationship between the two objects, and two objects are custom objects. Child is also custom object, parent is also custom object. When you have a child as a custom object and parent is a custom object, then you can implement lookup relationship between these two. You can implement a lookup relationship between these two. There is no issue with that. You can implement a lookup relationship because I have a child is a custom object, parent is also custom object, which is possible that custom to custom you can implement a lookup relationship. Custom to custom, you can implement a relationship, lookup relationship. Now, let's take another object, branch object. Branch object. Now, this branch object is also a custom object. This is also a custom object. Branch object is also custom object. Branch object is also custom object. And on the parent, in the parent, here I'm going to take account object. Here I'm going to take account object. Account object is a standard.
Standard.
This is a standard object. When you have a child object as a custom and account object is a standard, that means parent is a standard. Child is a custom, parent is a standard. Now, when you have this kind of a scenario where the child is a custom object, parent is a standard object, will I be able to implement a lookup relationship between these two objects? Yes, you can implement a lookup relationship between these two. You can implement lookup relationship. When you have a child as a custom and parent is a standard, when you have this kind of a scenario, you can implement a lookup relationship. You can implement a lookup relationship. Now, this is custom to custom, custom to standard, right? Now I will take another scenario. Another scenario is child object. Child object is a standard object. Let me take the standard object. Let's assume that it is a product. Product object is a standard object. Product object is a standard object. And similarly, I have a parent object. Parent object is also, I'll take it as a standard object, which is an account object. Now, in this case, parent and child both are standard. Parent and a child both are standard. That means child is also standard, parent is also a standard. Now, in this scenario, can I implement a lookup relationship between the two standard objects? Yes, you can implement a relationship between these two. Lookup relationship you can implement. Lookup a relationship which you can implement between the standard to standard. Standard to standard. Now let me take another scenario. Another scenario is child object which I have is standard object. Child object is which I have is standard objects. Let's take here standard object is a contact object. Contact object. I'll take the contact object which is a standard object, which is a standard object. Now here I have a branch object. Here I have a branch. Branch object is custom object. It is a custom object. Now in this scenario, child is a standard, parent is a custom. Child is a standard and the parent is a custom. In this scenario, can I implement the lookup relationship? Yes, I can implement the lookup relationship. I can implement the lookup relationship. That means here, child could be a custom, child could be a standard. Child could be a custom, child could be a standard. If child is having a custom and parent is having a custom as well as the standard, if this scenario, lookup you can implement it. When you have a child as a standard and parent is a standard and parent is a custom, you can implement the lookup relationship. Lookup relationship can be implemented between the any object to any object. You can implement from any object to any object. This is possible for the lookup relationship. Now I'm switching to the master detail relationship. Master detail relationship. In the master detail relationship. So whenever we are going with the master detail relationship, if you have a child object is a custom and parent is object is also custom. Can I implement the lookup or can I implement the master detail relationship? Yes, you can implement the master detail relationship. You can implement the master detail relationship. Master detail relationship you can implement. Master detail relationship you can implement. When you have a child is a custom and parent is also custom, you can implement the master detail relationship. Now, when you have a child as a custom and parent is a standard, can I implement a master detail relationship? Yes, you can implement a master detail relationship. You can implement master detail relationship. Can implement a master detail relationship if you have a child object as a standard and parent is a standard. Parent is a standard, you can implement it. Now, next step is when you have a child object as a standard object and parent is also standard object. Can I implement a master detail relationship? I cannot implement a master detail relationship. I cannot implement a master detail relationship. When you have a child object as a standard object and parent is also standard object, you cannot implement a master detail relationship. You cannot implement a master detail relationship. Now the next scenario is when the child is a standard and parent is a custom. Can I implement a master detail relationship? I cannot implement a master detail relationship. I cannot implement master detail relationship. That means master detail relationship you cannot implement if your child object is a standard object. If your child object is a standard object, you cannot implement the master detail relationship. Master detail relationship can be implemented when your child object is a custom. When your child object is a custom, only that time you can create it master detail. Now, parent could be a custom, parent could be a standard, which is fine, but child has to be a custom. Child has to be a custom object. Child cannot be a standard object. Child cannot be a standard object. If the child is a standard object, you cannot create a master detail relationship. Whereas the lookup relationship doesn't matter whether the child is a standard or a custom, doesn't matter. Whether the child is a custom or a standard doesn't matter. You can implement the lookup relationship between these two objects. Now, any questions here? Now, if anybody wants to take a notes, take a notes. For yesterday's session, we'll take it at the end, all the questions. Okay, so is everybody taking the notes? Okay. How about others? Because from here, you might receive a interview question. You might receive a interview question. What is the interview question here is? The interview question is, they will give you certain scenario. So they will give you the scenario. The scenario is, they will say that I have a account object. I have a account object and I have a position object. I have a position object. I have a account object and I have a position object. Here I have a account object. Account object and then position object. Position object. Now this account object is basically it's a business account. It's a business account. Now first they will ask you that they will give this scenario. They will give this scenario and they will tell that how will you implement a relationship between these two? I wanted to implement a relationship between these two, which is a tightly bond relationship. How can you implement it? How can you implement it? So which one you will take it as a parent object, which one you will take it as a child object? If you take a position as a child object, you have to always take it as a position object as a child object, because multiple positions can be open in one company. So position is a child object, account is a parent object. Then if you want to implement either master or a lookup, you can implement it. So this is fine. But in the following question, they will say that account, I wanted to make it as a child object. Account, I wanted to make it as a child object. Position, I wanted to make it as a parent object. Now, this is a confusion question they will ask you. So position, they will make it as a parent object. Now, when you reverse it, how will you implement a relationship between these two, and which one is possible? So whenever the child object is a standard object, immediately we have to realize that if I have a child object as a standard object, I can only go for a lookup relationship. I cannot go with a master detail relationship. So we have to clearly explain that we cannot implement a master detail relationship if the standard object is a child object. If the standard object is a child object, we cannot implement the master detail. In case if we want, we can go for the lookup relationship. But it's not a fair to implement a lookup relationship, because position, if we make it as a parent, one position can be linked into the multiple business account. So if this scenario is qualifies, then we can implement a lookup relationship, but we cannot implement a master detail relationship. So we need to explain them clearly. So from this, you might receive at least one question, relationship. Now, let's move on. So these are the different observations for the lookup relationship. Now, let's go ahead and questions. When we delete parent record, what will happen to the child record? Assume that it's a not mandatory. The lookup field is not mandatory. For that, whenever we delete a parent record, what will happen to the child record?
In
Mini school dude.
in child record, field will be empty.
Right? Others? I cannot say child field is deleted. It is basically child field value will be cleared. Child value, child field value, child record field, whatever the field is there, lookup relationship field, that value will be cleared. I cannot say it is deleted. Parent record will not be deleted only if it is a lookup relationship is a mandatory. But the scenario which I gave here is if the field is not mandatory. Right? Field is empty, that is correct. In child record, field value is cleared, that's right. Now, next question is, per object, how many lookup relationship can be created?
40.
40.
40 lookup relationship can be created. Right. Can be parent object security settings apply to the child object?
No.
No, both are individual.
No.
No, both are individual. Now, let's move on to the lookup dialog configuration. Now, lookup dialog configuration. What is this lookup dialog configuration? Lookup dialog configuration is nothing but when you go for a child record, right? So let me remove this field. Now you have this dialog icon, right? Which is called as a lookup dialog. Lookup dialog. So in Lightning, it seems like this. When you just hover this, you will be able to see kind of a drop down, which is a lookup dialog box, or you can click on this new hiring manager and you can click on you can create a new hiring manager from the child record itself. From the child record itself, when you click on the lookup dialog, so here you have a new hiring manager, you can see. Now, whatever you are able to see here, this window is called, so whatever this window is there, this is called as a this window here, whatever it is displaying it, which is called as a lookup dialog. So here I can see the hiring manager names. And last, you can see that new hiring manager. You can click on this new hiring manager. Though you are in a child object, child record, you can create a parent record here. Though you are in child record, while you are in a child record, you can create a parent record. Let's say that here hiring manager name is Dhananjay. And contact number is some number. And then email ID, let me put as a samskarit@gmail.com. Current CTC, let me add something. 20 lakhs. And location, let's keep it as a Mumbai. And designation is HR manager, click on the save. Now I have created a hiring manager. How I created it? I'm in the child record. From the child record itself, I can click on the lookup dialog. Now here I have an option to new hiring manager. From that, I have created the record, right? If I go to the hiring manager, let's click on a refresh. I can see that new record, whatever is created from the child record, I can see that new record here, hiring manager. The data is visible here. And this is how you will see the lookup dialog in the Lightning. Whereas in the Classic, let me switch to the Classic. Whereas in the Classic, let's go to the position record. Now here you have an option called, now let me remove this. Here you have an option called lookup dialog. So when you click on this binaucular, so it will open up the new window. Now what is happening is this is called as a lookup dialog. This is called as a lookup dialog box. This is a lookup dialog box. Now in this lookup dialog box, you have either you can search a specific name or a by default, whatever the recently you have viewed the hiring managers, it will show here. If you want to search it somebody's name, if you want to search Hari, then click on a Hari, click on a go. So only Hari will be displayed. Or else if you wanted to see entire data, click on enter the star. When you enter the star, it will give you all the details. Now, if you wanted to see the recently viewed one, don't enter anything here, just click on a go. Whatever the recently viewed are there, so those details will be displayed there. Those details will be displayed there. So basically, the first point in the lookup dialog is while creating the child record, we have to select the parent by using the lookup field. Either we have to select the parent record or you can create the parent record. If it is a classic view, in the classic view, you cannot able to create the parent record. You do not have an option to create a new hiring manager. That option is only available in the Lightning. You can create a parent record from the child object only in the Lightning. Whereas in the Classic, it does not have. Classic, it simply says that search here and then it will give you the data. It does not have any icon or anything to create a hiring manager parent record here. That's the first point. Now, the second point is upon clicking on the lookup icon, we have a lookup icon there. So whenever you click on a lookup icon, it will show the lookup dialog box, right? The one which we have seen, which populates the parent record in the form of tabular format. It is displaying when you click on the lookup icon, it will show the lookup dialog. In the lookup dialog, the data will be displayed in the form of tabular format. It is going to display in the format of tabular format. Now, by default, lookup dialog can represent maximum of 200 records details. Now, if you have a hiring manager records are, there are 1,000 hiring manager records are there. You have a 1,000 hiring manager records are there. So when you have a 1,000 hiring manager records, all the 1,000 hiring managers will be displayed here. No, maximum it will show you the 200 record details. Maximum it shows the 200 record details. On top of it, if you wanted to do search more things, so that's the reason we have a search option here. In the search option, you can specify it instead of viewing all the records. It is better to search what are the record that you wanted to see. It is better to search it. It is better to search that. Once you search it, then it can be opening up those records, right? So you will be able to, when you search it, then you will be able to see related records. Do not print all the 200 records in the lookup dialog. Better you always search which are the one you wanted it. If you observe here, when I click on this lookup icon, it is only showing me the data related to the name of the parent record. It is going to show me the data only related to the parent record. That means by default, Salesforce is representing the parent record name. By default, it is representing the parent record name. By default, it is representing the parent record name. So that's what we can change. We can see here. In case if I wanted to customize this lookup dialog, in case if I wanted to customize the lookup dialog, whatever the required columns are there. See, why I'm saying it is only giving me the name. Okay, let's assume that I have a record. Let's assume Dhananjay is there. Let's go to the hiring manager. In the hiring manager, I have a Hari. So I'll create a clone of this. This Hari is from Hyderabad. Now let's click on a clone. Now same Hari is also there in Bangalore location. There are two members with the same name. There are two members with the same name. Now when you click on this here, lookup dialog box, you see here two members are there, Hari. But which person is a Hyderabad, which person is a Bangalore? How will you know that? You will not be able to identify here. You will not be able to identify it. Because I might choose a wrong location person, right? Hari from the location, Hari from the Bangalore. There are two people out there, hiring manager with the same name. I need to choose the Bangalore person name. Now, how can I choose it? I cannot choose it by just looking at the name. Now, for that, if I wanted to customize it, what are the columns are there? I wanted to give more column names, including the name. I want the location. Right? I wanted to see few more details. In that case, how can we do that? So if you want to customize the lookup dialog to represent the required columns in the table, like only it can show the record name, the second line information in the lightning. Now that means here it should be the name it is displaying. It is displaying the name. Now here I want the location. And here I want the some other details, HR email ID, HR email ID. I need this information. I need this information in the table format. Now, how can we do that?
From page layout.
Page layout. Okay. Is everybody taking the notes here? Is everybody taking the notes? Okay, how about offline? Okay. So let's move on. So let's see how can we add a few more columns to the lookup dialog. How can we add the details to the lookup dialog? Now, in order to add that, so click on the parent object. Parent object is a hiring manager. Parent object is hiring manager. Now we have to go for a hiring manager and then click on the fields and relationship and go to the search layout. There is a one thing option is called as a search layout section. And then you will see that click on the edit link related to the profile. And then you can choose what are the fields you wanted to visible on the table, or you wanted to remove it, you can do that. Arrange the which one should be coming the first in the table format, which column should be the first, which column should be the second, which column should be the third. Arrange it and then click on a save button. Click on save button. Now let's go ahead here. Now, as we are already in the position object, instead of a position object, let's go to the hiring manager. In the hiring manager, click on here, hiring manager. Right, so in the hiring manager, you have something called search layout. You have something called here search layout. So do not go to the fields and relationship. Before it was fields and relationship, now it is changed. So here click on a search layout. Click on search layout. In the search layout, you have a different options are available. In the search layout, what it says here, it is default, whatever the profile is there, default layout, columns displayed. Now default layout is hiring manager name and rest all profiles are linking to the default layout. What is this default layout? Default layout is basically, it is going to show only the one hiring manager name, only the one hiring manager name. Now, if you want to include here location, you can include it. So that means all the profiles are saying that default layout. All the profiles are saying that default layout. This default layout, what is having here, this default layout is this one, which is having the columns to display, or else what you can do is, if you do not want to update the default layout, now I just wanted to change the system administrator. I wanted to change the system administrator. When I wanted to change the system administrator, along with this, I wanted to see the email address. And also I wanted to see the designation. Click on save. Click on save. Now the system administrator has a separate layout. Search layout is separate. Search layout is separate. Instead of the default layout, it has a hiring manager name, location, email address, designation. These are the 4 fields which I have selected. These are the 4 fields which I have selected. That means whenever I click on a lookup dialog for the system administrator, these are the information that should be displayed. These are the information that should be displayed. So this is for the system admin profile. System admin profile. Right now, my user is a system admin. Right now, my user is a system admin. Now this is a user. This is a user is a system admin user. If you go to the my profile, if you go to the my profile, so my profile user information. Let's go to the my settings. If you go to the my settings, go to the personal details, and here you will see advanced user details. Within the personal, you will see advanced user details. So right now, my user is system administrator. My user is system administrator. Now let me go back to the position object. In the position object, now let me delete the hiring manager. Click on here, lookup dialog icon. When you click on a lookup dialog icon, what it is showing here, it is showing me the all four columns it is showing. It is showing all four columns. Now, how these all four columns are came, because we have updated the search layout system administrator search layout we have updated. So whenever I have updated the search layout, it is automatically displaying the what are the four details are there, it is displaying it. This is how you can choose it, whether it is Hari from Hyderabad, Hari from Bangalore, you can choose it. You can choose it, click on the save and click on the save button so that you are able to choose the right person. You are able to choose the right person. Now, how about in the Lightning? This is in the classic view. How about in the Lightning? Let's switch to the Lightning. In Lightning, the lookup dialog will not open separate window box. In Lightning, it does not open the lookup dialog separately, right? It will just comes as a drop down. It just comes as a drop down. It will not open up the separate lookup dialog box. Separate lookup dialog box, it will not open up. It is just comes as a drop down. Now, how it is going to display? Now, let's delete this. Now, what is happening? It is displaying just Hari, and this is what it is displaying. Right? It takes some time to display the. Basically, how it will display is below the name, it will comes as a location. Below the name, it will display as a location. Now, here, let me update this search layout. In the search layout, let me change the edit. Now I'll place this designation on top. Click on save. Click on save, and the default also I'll remove the location. And let me put it as a designation. Click on save. Now let me go back to the here. Let's refresh. So basically how it is going to display is, right now it is displaying the data. Right now it is displaying. If you click on the lookup icon, so here you have a lookup icon. In this lookup icon, when you click on that, there is some icon which is available. Or if you click on over this, so what will happen ultimately, you will see there is some drop down kind of a thing, so you will see that, right? So here it is displaying the data. It is displaying like this, it is displaying. Now here it is. Right, like this, it is displaying it. Now, along with this, what will happen is below the person name, it will just show one field. It will not show all the column data. It will just show the one field. It will just show the one field here. Now here designation is HR manager, and here is a HR executive. And here it is senior HR. Monica, it will show senior HR. So like this, below the name of the person, it will display one field. It will display the one field. So like that, it will be displayed. Now, in case if you do not want to see the hiring manager name as a first place, now what you can do is you can update here what are the system administrator instead of hiring manager name. You just want a designation, right? Or if you want a location. But when you select a location, there is a possibility that multiple HRs are available in the same location. Multiple HRs are available in the same locations. So it will not give you the proper information, right? Or if you do not want the HR hiring manager name, usually sometimes you want the ID. Or if you have some record ID, you wanted to place that record ID, place that record ID here. Place that record ID here. But when you are placing the record ID on top, it is giving that hiring manager name must be the first field. Hiring manager name will be the first field because hiring manager is the one which is created while creating the object. If you say while creating the object, if you say auto number, the first field has to be auto number. Right, so this is how you can make a changes. Now let me go back and see whether it is updated or not. No, still it is not updated. It takes some time, definitely. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and see any other questions on the lookup dialog. Any other questions on the lookup dialog? Page layout, it is not possible because this is not the page layout. It is not a page layout. It is basically you are clicking on the icon. You are clicking on the icon. So on top of a page layout, you are clicking on the icon. That means this is the page layout here. This is the page layout. The page layout is, this is the page layout. On this page layout, you have some field. You have a field. On this field, again, you are performing some action, which is a lookup dialog. So this lookup dialog is, which is reflected to the another one, which is called as a search layout, which is called as a search layout. Search layout. So if you go to the page layout, in the page layout, hiring manager. Now where can you see that the lookup field? Now let me go to the object, position object. Here we have a position object. In the position object, let's go to the page layout. Now let's go to the custom position layout. Now in this case, this is a hiring manager. Now hiring manager, it just gives me required read only. Now it does not have any other properties. Let's click on a properties. Now if you click on a properties, this is the one it says. It doesn't give me any other option in the page layout. From how can you handle the lookup dialog? It does not have that much flexibility on the page layout. Any other questions? Okay, so let's move on. If I need to adjust the lookup dialog, which object should we go, parent or child? If I want to adjust the lookup dialog,
Parent.
parent. Right. So in Lightning, maximum how many lines can be displayed while searching the lookup field?
200.
200.
200. And the next one is we will see the lookup filter configuration. Lookup filter configuration is basically, for example, let's assume that now here it is showing the all the 200 records. So what are the records are there? It is showing me all the records here. But I do not want all the records here. I do not want all the records here. All the records I do not want. Now, based on this location, show me the hiring manager. That means in the hiring manager, you have a different hiring managers where based on the location. Now in Hyderabad, 2 members are there. In Bangalore, 2 members are there. In Mumbai, 1 member is there. So based on the location, now you select a location here. As soon as you select a location, based on the location, show only the hiring managers only related to that location. Do not show all the hiring manager details. Do not show all the hiring manager details. Now I do not need all the hiring manager details because unnecessarily I might be choosing all the different hiring managers, which I do not want. Now, how can I configure that? How can I configure? So while creating the child record, upon clicking on the lookup icon, it will populate all the parent record inside the lookup dialog. So that is what is happening. It is populating all the parent records in the child record. It is populating all the parent record in the child. Now we can restrict the visibility of all the record in the lookup dialog. Basically, I do not want to see all the parent records. I do not want to see all the parent records in the lookup dialog. So I wanted to restrict, only show me the parent record wherever the location is matches. So by adding the user, define the condition. So the condition here the condition is location. Based on the location, give me the parent records, the matching records in the lookup field dialog. So the filter condition here is lookup location. Now, when the loading the record in the lookup dialog, it will populate only those records which meets the specified conditions. Now note down this, then we will go for the practical. Okay, can you hear me guys clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Shrivali, you might have to rejoin.
Okay.
Okay, so lookup filter configuration is basically instead of showing all the records, now if I switch to the classic, let's go ahead and switch to the classic. Now, if I switch to the classic, now if I go to the specific position record, now I have here position record, which is a Salesforce developer. Now here, Salesforce freshers. Now I wanted to choose only the person which is related to the Hyderabad, because Bangalore person cannot take the recruit interview for the Hyderabad people. Now here it is coming that two Haris are coming. So why it is so confusing? Just give me only the records which are related to the Hyderabad. So that it is easier for candidate, it is easier for the other person. It is easier for other person, it is easier for the candidate also. HR also it is clear, candidate is also it is clear, because only if it is a face-to-face, whoever is sitting in the Hyderabad, they can take the interview face-to-face. Right? For that, how can we configure? For that, how can we configure is the lookup filter configuration. Is everybody taking the notes? Let me know once you've taken the notes. Okay, how about others? Okay. Let's move on. Now what I can do is, let's go to the fields. In the classic, click on a view fields. Click on view fields. When you click on a view fields, we have a lookup data type, which is a indexed. Click on a edit button. Click on edit button. So when you click on a edit button, here you have a something called lookup filter. You have a something called lookup filter. Now in this lookup filter, what you need to do is you need to give a condition. You need to give a condition. Now, what is the condition here we have to give? The condition is whenever your location. Now here you have a filter criteria is lookup filter criteria. So basically it is going to reduce if you apply this lookup filter, the result of a lookup field or a parent records will be only the matching records. It will be displayed on the child record. Only the matching records will be displayed on the child record. Now here, either you can give a filter criteria or else if you are confused how to specify it, just click on this insert suggested filter criteria. Insert suggested filter criteria. So what it is saying that it is when you select, either you can select the first one, owner ID, hiring manager : owner ID matches with the current user ID. That means hiring manager owner ID equal to current user ID, or else hiring manager owner ID equal to position owner ID. So which are the one you wanted, you can insert it. So this is the example how we are going to insert the record. So just close this. Now let me go back to the field. Now here, this field is, it is giving me, when I click on this, it is giving me the certain options. It is giving. So first it is giving me that hiring manager. Let's use the object lookup field hiring manager dot location equal to hiring manager dot location equal to what you can say here, the value is value or a field. There are two options are there, value or field. Click on a field. I wanted to choose a field. Field is in the position. We have a position status. Now you cannot do that. Now let's go back and change here the field. Now here the field is, let's take here position. Where is the location? Position. Okay. Position location is not displaying it. Position location is not displaying it. Why the position location is not displaying? What is the reason for why it is not displaying the location? Why it is not displaying the location here? I cannot see the location. Position location, it is not displaying it. What is the reason for it? Lookup is there. Now I can see if I select a hiring manager, I can see the lookup field. Here is the location, which is a lookup field, hiring manager. Right? I can see the here, but I cannot see the position. What might be the different? Multi-select data type, right? Because the field is whatever the location field is on the, position object, it is a multi-pick list. Multi-pick list values cannot be seen in the filter criteria. In the lookup filter criteria, you cannot see multi-select. Click on edit. So when you click on edit, now here I wanted to change the field data type. But before changing the field data type, let's go ahead and check is all the is all the records has a single name, right? Now Salesforce developer has a Hyderabad and Salesforce fresher. Salesforce fresher is also has a Hyderabad. Now what I can do is I can update the multi-pick list to the pick list. Now I'm changing the location, change field type from the multi-pick list to the pick list. Now it says that you might lose all the existing data. Existing data, I have a 2 records. 2 records has a only one value. It does not have a multiple value. So I'm safe to convert. I'm safe to convert. Pick list, I'm updating to the pick list. And the location, this is all which I needed. This is all which I need. So Bangalore to Bangalore, Chennai to Chennai, Delhi to Delhi. Right, these are the pick list values which I needed. Location is the field. And description, help text, these are the details, right? Now, everything is, this is the record, this is the fields which I wanted it. These are the fields which I wanted it, which looks safe. From the multi-pick list, I'm changing to the pick list. Click on a save. Click on a save. Once it is saved, now it is changed to the pick list. Now let me go back to the position. Existing record, location, I lost the record. So I'll choose here because whenever we change the data type, we will lose the existing data, we will lose it. Existing data, we will lose it. That is a Salesforce fresher. And let's go back to the Salesforce developer. This is also, we lost the data. So whenever we change the data type, this is one of the defect that do not ever change the data type simply. Do not ever change the data type simply because you are going to lose the data entirely. Now, in this case, we have a 2 records. That's the reason we can update it. In this, we have only 2 records, which we can update it. Now here, let me put the location. Click on save. I'm updating the list view. Now I can see the location is updated for both the records. So I lost the data because I changed the data type from the multi-pick list to the pick list, which happens whenever you change from the text to text area to text area to long, any data type, if you change it, you will lose the data. So that is the problem. So never ever simply change the data type once you create it and once the records are there within that object. And if you are changing the data type, you will lose the values of that field. You will lose the values of that particular field. Now we have updated. Let me go back and refresh this lookup filter. Now I'm moving back to the lookup filter. In the lookup filter, I'll select here position. Now when I select the position, now I can see the location. Now I can see the location. Position location equals to field is called. We have a hiring manager location. If these 2 criteria is matches, if this criteria is matches, that means what I'm saying here position location, position object dot location equal to hiring manager dot location. If this is matches, if these 2 are matches, then only display the parent record. Then only display the parent record. That's what I'm saying here. Now, whether it is a required or not. So by default, filter type is a required. It says that in case if you do not find any matching filter criteria, if you do not match it, it will give you the error message saying that value does not exist, does not match the filter criteria. Now I'll show you this error message, how it is going to display. Now look up window text, add the information message to look up the window. Now, if you want to add any additional information, you can use this. Now that's all. Now let's click on it, save. Now activating it, let's click on it, save button. Now if you do not activate it, that this is not going to work. The filter criteria will not work. So if you want the filter criteria to be working on it, then you have to activate it. Click on a save button. Click on save button. Now it is updated. Now let me go back to the object. Now let's go to the Salesforce developer. In the Salesforce developer, I do not want this. Now the location is Hyderabad. Let's click on a lookup icon. Now how many records it is going to display? Only the records it is displaying the Hyderabad. If I type star also, that star means show me all the details. Now what is happening? It is showing me only the data which is related to the Hyderabad. Only the data, the parent records, only the related to the Hyderabad. Now I can choose it. Click on save. Now, if I update this location, for example, I'm updating the location to the Pune. Pune, I'm updating, immediately it says that Hari is no longer valid in your selection. If I change it to the Bangalore, right? Then it says that Hari is no longer. Now Hyderabad, it is coming here. Bangalore, it says that Hari is no longer is available. This Hari is no longer available. There is another Hari is available, right? Now names are same. Why it is still giving the error? Because the 18 digit is a different. The digit of the 18 digit is a different. If you go to the hiring manager, go to the hiring managers, now you have a two Haris. Let's open this Hari and this Hari. Now what are the Bangalore Hari is there? Bangalore Hari URL 18 digit is a different, right? This is a CAAF. This ID is a different, and this is different. HOAAJ. This is different. So that's the reason it is basically look at the ID. Though you have a Hari, you have selected here, it doesn't take it as a name wise. Now, if you shift this to the Hyderabad, it will say that it is not available. Actually, Hari is nothing but at the back end, it is taking it as some digits. Whatever the Hari digits are there, 001, those are there, right? So that ID, it is taking it as a backend. Now, if I select here Bangalore, the ID is available. Let me click on save here. Now, if I click on a Hari, what will happen? It will go back to that particular ID. It will go back to this particular ID. Now, the same ID, will it be available on the Hyderabad? It is not available. It is not available. No, it is not available. It is going to show me the error when I'm saving it. Because here, the data which is there, the backend, front end, it says Hari. The backend, it is 18-digit ID. The backend, it is 18-digit ID. So it is always unique. It is always unique. Now this is not available. Now let's move on. Now, in case if I update some other name, in case if I update Pune, right? And if I click on a save, yes, it is not available. Yes, it is not available. But Pune has any records? There is no hiring manager. Hiring manager does not have any records which is related to the Pune, right? Pune location is not available. So that's the reason it is giving the blank value. That's the reason whenever I click on a binocular, it is giving the blank. That means there is no records on the hiring manager. No records found due to one of the following. No records or nothing is there, right? So here value does not exist, does not match with the criteria. From where that error is coming? In the position, go to here, edit, and you have a filter criteria. It says that value does not exist or it does not match with the filter criteria. Whenever you implement a filter criteria, on the object level, you will observe this icon. There is some icon which is added to the lookup. That means for this lookup field, there is a filter criteria that gets added. Let me show you in the Lightning also. In the Lightning, let's go to the fields and relationship. And here in the Lightning, it does not display. In Lightning, it does not display any kind of a icon. So this is in the Lightning. Now filter criteria is position location equal to hiring manager location, required error, and it is active. Now if you go to the filter condition, it is not showing any filter icon here. But in Classic, it shows the filter icon. Now let me do one thing. Now here we have a checkbox, which is an active checkbox. In the lookup filter, I have a something called checkbox. Now I'll disable that checkbox. I have added the filter criteria. I have added the filter criteria, right? But it is a checkbox is disabled. That means here, let me click on an edit button. Now I have a condition. The condition is available. I have not removed the condition. Only the thing is that active, I have disabled it. Disable the active checkbox. Disable the active checkbox. Now let me move to the hiring manager here. So let's go to the hiring manager. Now in the hiring manager. Now let me open this, not the hiring manager position record. Go to the position record. In the position record, let's open the Salesforce developer. Let's click on this and it is showing all the data. Location is Bangalore, but it is showing the both of them, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and both of the data it is displaying. Basically, entire data it is displaying here. Entire data it is displaying it. So that's about the lookup filter. Now, what is the purpose of lookup filter? What is the purpose of lookup filter?
We can filter based on condition.
Based on the condition, filter the parent records. What are the parent records should be displayed when you click on the lookup dialog. Instead of showing the all the records, display only the records that are related to that particular record. That means based on the condition, show me only that specific records. If I have 1,000 records in the parent, do not show the 1,000 records on the lookup dialog. Show me only the one which are based on the condition. Show me only those records. Right. Now, next question. Now, this is a use case. We will see that tomorrow. That's all for today. Now, I'll give you the trial head links. These are the trial head links. There are 4 trial head links which I have given. Okay, so that's all for today. So homework is configure the lookup relationship between the course and student object and list out all the observation. So implement a lookup relationship between the course and student, which I already given yesterday. And again today, also I need a observation. Yesterday, whatever you have sent me the observation. Again, I send me the one more time observation and it will compare the yesterday's one, today's one. What did you learn? And second homework is configure the lookup relationship between the project and a team member object. Project and team member object. If you do not have these objects, create an object, project and a team member. Homework 3, configure the lookup relationship between the student and book. Right? If you do not have an object, create this object and implement the lookup relationship between these two. Right? Now, that's all. These are the 3 homeworks.